in Aldi's to be able to kind of show him the ropes and like, here's, how we do things, and here's how we deal with the media and that sort of thing. So the two of them are just, they're really fun to watch, and they goof around together, but I feel like their energy just feeds off of each other. So it's really exciting.
And it probably helps to have two veterans like Freeman and Nick Markakis.
Yeah, definitely.
In the lineup with them.
It was interesting. They asked at the beginning of the year, Anthopoulos, who's now our new GM, asked everyone at the beginning of the year, trying to get to know the players, came to NCRT and said, so who is the leader in this clubhouse? Well, everyone expects it to be, the Freeman, because he's been around for so long. He came through the organization. And he said it was Markakis. He said that he's quiet and everything, but he's the guy that you want to play well for. You want to win games for him. And he's showing that this year with his 344 average. He's definitely one of the leaders in our clubhouse. So
I don't think Markakis has ever been an all-star in his career, if I'm not mistaken. And I mean, he would have to be this year.
You would think so. And the past couple of years, again, we've only had like one all-star each year the past couple of years, and this year we're actually going to have a couple guys who are deserving, so it'll be interesting how that plays out.
Definitely.
Yeah, you'll definitely be having a few pitchers might be all-stars for you.
Yeah, it's surprising. Dan Winkler, he was Rule 5 from the Rockies and had 2 brutal injuries, made his way back up, and he has been really great out of the bullpen this year. So he's definitely, they're definitely talking about him possibly all-star candidate this year. So
yeah, he's been good. I mean, Newcomb's really surprised me looking at his numbers. I mean, he's got like a 2.3 ERA.
Yeah, he's been
9
great.
games. He's been great. Obviously, you have Terheron. I can never.
Tehran.
He's
yes.
Struggling a little bit right now, but he's gonna come back down to earth. I'm not worried about that.
Yeah. It's Julio is kind of an interesting situation just because he's been in trade chatter several times, never actually been traded, but people go back and forth, and you know how fans are, but people go back and forth between he had a couple good starts and everybody's like, yeah, he's on, he's part of the rotation. Then he'll have a bad start or 2 bad starts. Well, we should have traded him when we had the chance. And at this point he is struggling a little bit, and it's interesting because he struggles a lot more at home, which home is still new to him because we just opened our new ballpark last year, but he definitely does much better on the road.
Yeah, and that's not a bad thing, especially for playoffs, and you could just get that around. And
right.
I mean, you got Fulton Nowinski. He's been good. He's
Fulton
not going deep. Yeah, Fulton Nevich. I'm awful at last names in baseball.
It's okay. No, that's the hardest one.
I can't get it. He's tough, but he's not going deep into games. He's 5 1/3, 5 2/3 average. But I mean, a 2.7 ERA. I mean, that's unbelievable.
Right. Newcomb's definitely, like you said, Newcomb's been just had so many good starts, and he's so down to earth. He doesn't get rattled. Fulte, on the other hand, he gets rattled very easily. He gives up a home run, and he's visibly frustrated. He's yelling into his glove and that sort of thing. It's they tell him, like, come on, bring it down a couple notches. And Newcomb is the exact opposite. He shows no overly positive or negative emotions. He can keep his cool. Like he doesn't, even if he gets the loss, like, you're not okay. Perfect example was that horrible Cubs game.
That was bad.
I was at that game, actually. Unfortunately,
really freezing. I was at the David Price game where he gave up 4 in the first inning to the Yankees. So
And you're watching it happen. You're like, oh, this is not happening. Yes, it's happening.
Yep.
But even after that, he just bounced right back and just let it roll off, and whatever, it's one start, and he's been really great, and it's good because he came from the Simmons trade with the Angels, and
yep.
I think that was one of the more painful trades in this process for a lot of fans. A lot of people didn't want it to happen, so it's really nice to see him doing well, because it shows purpose for that trade. So,
yeah, it didn't go in vain for the fans. I mean, he was a first round pick in LA as well. I mean, 15th overall. I mean, that's good. I mean, that's a game. I mean, he's 24 years old.
Yeah, he's very young.
Fits with your lineup and your roster, which brings me into the trade deadline for you guys. You have, I think, your lineup's probably set. I'm sure a couple guys will come down to earth like Cake.
Right.
He's going to bat 340.
Right.
Probably not, but he's going to do well. But pitching-wise, do you need another starter, like a solid 2 or 3? Do you need another bullpen guy, although we got an all-star out there? Do you need an 8th-inning guy, 7th-inning guy? What do you need?
So everyone's number one question right now is third base. And as you can see, we just had the Bautista experiment come to an end. I personally am glad that's over. But
I'm happy for you, because it's not what you need in your life.
No, I know he's a great veteran for some of the guys, but I'm kind of over that hole in the lineup. So currently we have Camargo at third, and he's a great defender and everything, but his bat is not super consistent. So the question is, if we are still kind of in the place we are right now, in a couple of weeks or 2 months, then are we going to go after a third baseman via trade? Or we also have Austin Riley just killing it in AAA right now.
You guys have so many prospects. It's so great. I mean,
we do. There's just one right after the other.
Yeah, I mean, you look at like Swanson, who was like the talk of town last year, and now not even like the talk of it anymore. And before he got the DL, he's batting like 300, like 320. Now he's down to 270, but he's fine.
Right, but
he's
clutch.
A stud.
He came up the other night. That walk-off was crazy. But, I'm not worried about Dansby at all. But as far as third base goes, of course, people have been throwing around Moustakas, Machado a little bit. I just don't see that making sense for us at all.
I'd stay away from
No,
that
you'd have to give up. Yeah, you have to give up so much.
It would be Mark Teixeira the second. Like, it would be awful. That trade still haunts us, and this would be an even shorter amount of rental time. And I just don't think we're one piece away right now. So third base is questionable. It just really depends on how Camargo's doing. We could always add an arm to the bullpen. Starting pitching, McCarthy is doing pretty well for us. I don't know. I'm 50-50 right now as to what we're going to do at the deadline.
Yeah, I mean, it just seems like, from an outside looking in, obviously I'm not, I mean, the big prospects, of course, are so fun to watch of Atlanta.
They are, years. Yeah.
You guys have been so bad, but it's been coming up. You watch the guys coming up. But pitching-wise, it looks like you could use another starter.
Yeah.
That's about it. Bullpen.
A new veteran.
Bullpen.
A veteran starter. Yeah, it's because we have so many arms. I mean, we even have Colby Allard, who would be the next, like, Soroka coming up. He really young, but doing really well. But do you want to throw another super young arm in the rotation?
No, I think
probably not.
I think Cole Hamels would be awesome.
Yeah,
for you guys
I've heard that
so many
too.
Reasons.
Yeah, and I'm not even sure if he's going to be available, but I've definitely heard that.
Yeah, I mean, Texas stinks, right? They're awful.
Right.
They got Cologne out there being their ace right now, basically, and Hamels would work. I mean, I don't think it would cost too much. You guys have.
I don't think so either.
For it as well, and if you throw him here with, with Fultzy, with Julio, with Newcomb, and then Hamels, that's a pretty solid 1 through 4.
Yeah, I think so too. We had Gohara start yesterday for us. I know that they really want him to be in the rotation. He's just had so many outside issues. I don't know what the plans are for him right now, but he could be an addition to the bullpen also.
Yeah, he was. What is he? He only started a couple games so far, right? Like 4, 5.
So this was his first start for us this year. He did come up last year for a couple of starts, but he's had a lot of family issues. He's actually on his way to Brazil right now to be with his mom, who had heart surgery. Yeah, so he's just not really in the mindset, and then he had that ankle injury. So he's still kind of a question mark, but he is. He is high up there as far as someone they would want in the rotation.
Yeah, and another young guy too, 21 years old. So it's like
he's very young.
You got all. So what do you think of the series coming up against the Sox? What are you hoping for? 2 out of 3? You think you're going to sweep?
Well,
what do you think?
Well, I'm always hoping for a sweep, but
of course.
The Braves, honestly, we've done so much better on the road this year, and we tend to play better against better teams. So I'm expecting them to play well, but obviously we haven't played the caliber team that you guys are yet. I guess we'll just see.
Yeah, no, it's going to be interesting.
Getting back to some of the trades, though, I think the pitching market's going to be pretty broad as far as middle of the rotation help goes. Baltimore's falling out of it. Some of their guys could be available. They might be willing to deal Cobb right away. Maybe Cashner. Fulmer out of Detroit could be a name to keep an eye on.
I love Michael Fulmer. That's such a
and Fulmer played with Dansby actually at Vanderbilt, so they know each other very well. Yeah, they did.
He's a stud, that kid. I would love to get him on the Red Sox and move some of the other guys.
Yeah.
He's so good.
Yeah, he was sent to Detroit at the last second in the Cespedes deal, I believe.
Yes, he was the Cespedes.
A few years
Cespedes really produced some good pitchers in his day for trades.
Yeah.
Porcello's been either really good or really bad. Fulmer's unbelievable. He's going to be so good.
That's an interesting point.
Definitely not mind that.
Yeah. Moustakas also has been a name that you guys were linked to throughout the off season, and I think he could be had pretty cheap. I mean, if you look at what the Indians paid for Jay Bruce, I mean, they gave up basically no one, and even the Diamondbacks with JD Martinez. So, and you can never have too much veteran presence, and cheap money. He's a rental. He's only on a 1-year deal, so I think.
Yeah, and that's really what we need. I think the theme coming into the last 2 years has really been, let's not make deals that are going to block our prospects. Let's not have these long-term deals, and then what are we going to do about the guys waiting to come up? So if it makes sense and we're not giving too much away, kind of backtracking away from what we did in the rebuild as far as stocking the farm, then I'm all for it. Anything to improve, because all the improvements that we've done throughout the season is obviously what has gotten us to where we are right now. So
you've definitely done it the right way, aside from some, controversy a little bit with your previous GM. But still, I mean, I don't. It doesn't appear, from the outside looking in, that's hurt you guys too bad. How do you?
No.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I really, that was a pretty horrible day. Going through that day, just one prospect at a time being taken away. It was kind of like a funeral. But,
it's a slow death there.
Yeah, and they were releasing names, 30 minutes in between each other, and it was just one after the other. But, looking back on that, how many of those guys are actually going to pan out? One of them has already been sent back to his home country for domestic abuse violations or something. It's so, even with the 13 prospects we lost and the third round pick for this current year, we're going to be fine. We're stocked with prospects. We'll be fine.
Not worried about Atlanta. I thought they were going to be ready in 2 or 3 years. They're ready now. They're the real deal.
Yeah.
And I mean, you got what you need. It's just development at this point.